Greetings and welcome to A Journey with the Saints, brought to you by Sisters in the Spirit of Houston. The canonization process. In the early church, becoming a saint was an unstructured process. It wasn't until 993 when St. Ulrich of Augsburg was the first saint to be formally canonized by Pope John the 15th. St. Ulrich is the patron saint of pregnant women and easy birth. By the 12th century, the church officially centralized the process, putting the Pope himself in charge of commissions that investigated and documented potential saints' lives. Pope Alexander III began to reserve the cases of canonization to the Holy See, and this became general law under Gregory IX. Elizabeth Ann Seton, born in New York City in 1774, was the first American born Catholic saint. She was canonized by Pope Paul VI at the Vatican in Rome in 1975. In the old church, we recognize the Black saints, Saint Maurice, a soldier who is the patron saint of troops. Saint Monica of Hippo is the patron saint of mothers and wives having survived a very tumultuous marriage. Her son, Saint Augustine of Hippo, who is the patron saint of printers and theologians, probably the only mother son saint duo in the Catholic Church. As we look at the modern church, we recognize Saint Benedict the Moor, who's the patron saint of African America for his concentration and focus on racial injustice. The very popular Saint Martin de Porres, born in 1579 to a Spanish gentleman and a free Black woman from Panama. He is the patron saint of harmony. And finally, we refer to Saint Josephine Bukita, who is the patron saint of human trafficking. And unfortunately, for those of us who live in Houston, we all know too well the damages associated with human trafficking. So, the process for canonization. Step one is to wait 5 years, the typical time frame to make someone a saint. The waiting period can be waived by the Pope. In fact, Pope Benedict XVI set aside the waiting period for his predecessor, John Paul II, in 2005. A speedy process was evidenced by Mother Teresa, who died in 1997, was beatified, one step below a saint, in 2003, and canonized in 2016. On the other end, we have a marathon process. Saint Bede, the theologian, died in 735, while Pope Gregory I was active, but he had to wait almost 1,200 years before he was declared a saint by Pope Leo XIII and canonized in 1899. He was named Doctor of the Church because of his work and piety. Continuing, what goes on during this waiting period is intense scrutiny of the candidate's life. There must be evidence and verification of holiness and spiritual leadership. Any exceptions are identified and determined worthy of proceeding or stopping the process. There are four basic stages of the canonization process. The first is being designated a servant of God. The second, the venerable designation. Third, being designated as blessed. And ultimately, the fourth stage is canonization or becoming a saint. To become a servant of God, the bishop of the diocese where the person died can open a case for investigation into the life of the candidate to see if their lives were lived with sufficient holiness and virtue to proceed. Once the case is accepted for consideration, the individual can be called a servant of God. To become venerable, the Congregation for the Causes of Saints scrutinizes the evidence of the candidate's holiness, work, and signs that people have been drawn to prayer through their example, specifically spiritual leadership. If the Pope decides that the person lived a life of heroic virtue, they can then be called venerable. To become blessed, incidents need to be verified by evidence before they are accepted as miracles. In an earlier process requirement, a committee originally assigned to knock down any case for sainthood was in place. This committee has officially been eliminated, and the required number of miracles was dropped. Canonization is the final step in declaring a blessed person a saint. To reach this stage, a second miracle must be attributed to prayers made to the candidate after they have been beatified. Martyrs, however, only need one verified miracle to become a saint. In essence, the requirements are martyrdom or verification, evidence of a second miracle. In summary, the four stages to become a saint along the canonization process: being designated as a servant of God, then moving to designation as venerable, becoming blessed, and ultimately becoming a saint. Thank you.